Welcome everyone to the 232nd MLP Drawing School. It's weekly, I believe. Unless if it's not weekly, then it's not bi-weekly or weekly.
You know what we should have been doing this whole time is having, like, each stream, it's like, what is the Pokemon of this stream? Because we can go up to, like, the 800s, so...
Oh, God.
Huh.
We'll never know.
That sounds like a good idea.
Well, we can produce streams faster than Pokemon can produce Pokemon.
That's not
We're
possible.
gonna run out of ideas eventually.
Today is August 11th, and it's only 4 minutes past when we normally like to start. Because we have to be on time. This is a job. We get paid the big bucks for this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Number 232 is Gone Fan. I love that one. All the other things.
So as you might be able to hear, assuming my audio's working just fine, we got... What? Oh, it's not actually working fine. Oh no.
What? Oh no, are we not audible?
You are. You're just slightly turned down. One sec.
Are we sponsored by Audible?
Ooh, we could be sponsored by... we could just make an Audible ad and be like, hey, when are we getting our money?
Yep.
Just turn off attenuation here.
Oh, each episode.
Affiliate
Sorry, I
code.
was distracted from drawing because I was listening to an audible and then just like wait until they pay us.
Affiliate code MLPDS232. Get 10% off your first 3 months trial.
Yep, this sounds like the best idea.
And we've got to do our art
Hey.
critique as an audible though.
What's our book we're going to recommend? There's always a recommended book in these ads.
The Art of Drawing by whoever.
Actually, Art in Fear is on Audible.
That's true.
So I
Why don't we
suggest
make our
Art in
own
Fear
book
as our first
about-
Audible ad.
We're gonna make our own book about art critique and then just recommend that.
Yeah, that's also an option. But I'm still going to do Art in Fear. Or possibly we could do... it's my Audible. One sec. Let me open my Audible. What was the last one I listened to?
Oh, heck.
Because I actually...
We'll do the animator's survival kit. The problem is that it's all images, so you're like not getting much.
There's someone describing the images.
I was going to say we should do a picture book.
Yeah.
Oh my
Just
God.
like a kid's picture book.
A beautiful...
I've not described any of the images, so all the text feels out of place.
Here we go. A Beautifully Foolish Endeavor by Hank Green. That's our Audible suggestion.
Beautiful.
This has been your non-sponsored section. Hashtag Wishful Spawn. We completely derailed all these intros.
You
for
did,
us.
yeah.
Yep.
It's one of those days.
All right, let's just get on with art. Allie Claw,
Yeah,
roll call.
hi.
Hi, Allie Claw.
Hi. How's it going?
It's going well. I'm being derailed quickly. Hi, Fluffy's Eye.
Hi, how's it going? Oh no, a fairy. Wait, it's a pixie.
That's about right.
This morning.
And that's Pixie.
Let's draw.
He may or may
I'm
not
so
actually be a pixie.
We don't know.
Perhaps.
But you should use your zombie powers, Living Dead, who's here
Ooh.
also.
Brains.
Brain.
Brains! Alright. First picture. Top left-hand corner. Speed mode. Yeah, this is going to be that type... Oh, God. Oh, what? Who's...
You said speed mode.
Oh, shit, I
What was I
did.
meant
I'm impressed you managed to copy the lines there flank and chest with that. Alright, so this
I'm a
first one
professional.
lined up here is by Spinal Splat. What a great name. I'm loving some of these usernames. And their entire post says, I have been playing Minecraft again recently. And that is it. Alright, so I'm just gonna put this out here. Can you please ask questions, any parts you got stuck on, anything you'd like to explore in your art? Because a title like that tells me nothing about where you're
Now
at
I'm
with
gonna
this
be
picture.
struggling for the rest of the evening to wonder where the connection between playing Minecraft and this image comes from.
Yeah, and that's... If you thought we got derailed in the first 5 minutes that I've already linked you to and you're going, what? Yeah, just
Does,
just imagine this.
does it have to? I'm gonna just assume the Nether, because we got some, black light going, and this cutie mark's kind of dark and spooky.
Mm.
The Nether's pretty dark and spooky, right?
That'll do as an explanation.
Yeah.
These wings are awesome. I like them. I think it could connect a little bit more, or at least like because the whole thing is like a tube here. It doesn't really feel like it's properly connected. So I'd probably like bust that a little bit more, bring this neck up so it doesn't like hit the shoulder there.
These are some
Presumably some material going around.
wildly spindly legs.
Mm. They are super crazy spindly.
I think one of the problems I'm seeing, not think, it's just definitely seeing, those front legs are like 30% longer than the back legs. The back legs, I'm mostly okay with their shape. There's just one part that is confusing me about their design and structure. You have a bump that hangs around here, and I'm stealing Allie's purple because it
How
seemed
could
like
you?
fine. Change.
You can have it. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's
Ooh,
fine.
what? Okay,
Oh.
you have this bump that goes here, and then the rest of the leg forms. I'm interested in what the reasoning behind that bump is. So, on normal legs, like normal horse legs, not normal human legs, we go a short bone that comes from the hip, of even shorter bone that forms the hock, and in your case it'd be extended. So we're just gonna go ahead and extend that out, and then that bone goes down straight to the hoof, which then has one more bone, and that's it. That's the back leg construction. So you have this extra area of muscle or bone or maybe a joint. I'm not quite sure. I'd be really interested in what the goal or what the purpose behind that was, to know if it was part of the design, part of the character. Maybe you like giving them an extra joint for a reason. I'm not sure. And that's where I'd really love to have feedback on this one.
Mm-hmm.
But my suggestion would be get rid of it. Because right now it doesn't make sense as far as MLP style horses go. I would just follow that curve all the way through and keep, because the way your curve is, it makes sense for how your body is. You have this very, very thin chest, very thin neck, everything tapers in and then pulls out like an hourglass shape. So that end of an hourglass shape that you form on the leg makes a lot of sense for this, as far as continuing that same style, same feeling.
Mm. With these front hoofers, the shoulder, this whole area tends to sort of remain mostly within the form of the body, and I tend to bulge it out when it gets to the actual training, because it's kind of what happens. So I kind of tend to use like almost a triangle-y sort of shape, and then that's just like something like that, and then off that comes sort of the a little bit of a leg and all that sort of stuff, and that might doing something along those lines might help the length as well, make the length between the front and back hooves a little bit more uniform. But I'd recommend just like looking at some real horses to try experimenting with that area a bit. I think we saw Ali doing some like circles and stuff around here.
Mm-hmm.
I think the main thing with this whole area, from sort of the neck and the torso, is just that it feels a little bit fluid and a little bit like too fluid, a little bit unstructured.
Mm-hmm.
It's cool to have super dynamic poses and that sort of stuff, but it's also cool to have sort of half defined and strong feeling anatomy as well.
Like basically, if we were to take this pony, if they were just standing up, from what I can tell, the chest circle is very big versus the butt circle, which is a lot smaller, and the way the body's shaped, it kind of makes it go like that. Um, so it's just something to be careful about. But and also another small thing to point out, and I believe Zom already fixed it here with the tummy, but basically having the tummy go down like this, it's like, does it pick back up here? Does it? Usually you have to consider the, where the butt is, how it works between the legs, where the line will attach, how will it attach, where do the legs attach. There's a lot of these kind of questions, which is why we always recommend drawing what you can't see. So if you can't, sure, you can't see the underbelly here because the leg's blocking it, but still drawing it anyway helps us learn and helps us understand how it all connects together. So doing under sketches where, we can see the torso, little beans. Sometimes I like to tuck my butt up just because if you look at other animals, they tend to tuck up at a diagonal instead of following the full circle. And since I can now see it all, I can understand how each part connects. And it just helps us as artists, understand those connections while turning something that's 3D into 2D.
I like it.
Yeah. How you break down the sort of shapes changes depending on whose art you break down. I
Mhm.
tend to just have like a fairly standard-ish kind of cylinder for the neck. And then for the body, what I tend to do is I tend to have this sort of shape that's like more heavy at the front and then sort of goes in at the back, and then just a bit of a cut off for the rump. And that tends to do the body shape for this sort of side pose alright for what I like. But just breaking down other people's art and seeing how they do it, you can, work out circles or like, have like a more of a chesty kind of thing, and then all that sort of stuff. Just break down some other people's art, and then you'll see what sort of shapes they use, and it will help you plan different shapes for yours.
I know it's sometimes like the advice we give a lot, and this is like references, and we try to sort of guide towards like how to use references and where to like what sort of references to aim for. But like I know often isn't super duper help when you want critique to just be like go find this, but yeah, we'll give you a pass to just spend the day looking at cool and awesome art and saying it's for research purposes, because that's basically basically what it is that we're telling you to do. Just look at awesome art and just say like, I like this part here. How did they sort of work out the shapes? Let me just like sort of break it down and get used to it. And it's fun.
And feel free to come to Discord and say hi. How do I do this? If you need some more help or something like that. And
Yeah.
share breakdown stuff that we've done.
Yeah.
These wings are super cool. And
They're
I like
very
them.
interesting interpretation of like
Yeah.
how to do wings like that. It's
Mm.
almost like a dragon, like a wyvern style.
Hmm.
Because usually those wings aren't like fully attached to the body, right? They got like arms and then the wings.
I like them. They are cool.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of really interesting stuff here.
But yes, I guess keep drawing. This is really fun and cool. I'm glad you took a break to draw from playing Minecraft. That's pretty awesome. Always good to take a break from video games to do art. And we hope to see you more.
Yeah,
I
I
like
like
the
it.
post was like I started playing Minecraft again, and I was like, yes, you stopped again to draw.
All right. Shall we move on to our next one?
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
be fair, video games constantly claim my art, so
Alright, this is posted by The Secret of Vampire. Vampire. Mwah. Anyway, it's, I drew Planety. Planety? Not Planety. She's not a planet.
Maybe she's Captain Planet's new sidekick.
Ooh.
We don't know.
She definitely looks like she'd be part of the Planeteers.
It's very 90s, isn't it?
Yeah. So I want your opinions. I know I messed up a little on her eyes.
or is she a rarity you travel with?
Sorry, you broke up.
Oh, never mind. I was just making jokes.
Okay.
It was very clear. Rarity you try. Blah, blah.
Yeah.
Oh no.
I'm pretty sure this is from the show. The Planety is a good disguise.
Yeah, I vaguely remember this episode.
So I think the markers they're using are like the Crayola standard color markers.
Mm-hmm.
It's just based on how the ink builds up. Like it likes to. Those Crayola markers are wonderful for what they are. They're just versatile and wonderful little things. But one of the downsides to them is they do leave a lot of air gapping and inconsistent inking, which is one of the reasons I tend to step away from them. But use what you have on hand always. Anything's better than nothing. My suggestion when using them, though, instead of doing back and forward strokes like that, do single strokes and just work your way across. And what that's going to do is it's going to help you try and keep a more consistent coating of the ink, and will hopefully try and cut down on some of the blank spaces that are left and inconsistent voids that are formed. And it might make you a little happier with the outcome on that.
And plus, you can use that to your advantage with the hair. Sometimes you might get a little streakiness by doing this. I haven't used these markers in a while, so I can't say how good they'll overlap, because I have a low opacity pen here. As you can see, when I'm far away, you can't tell, but when I get closer, you can see how very, very slightly how overlap there might be streaks. But anyway, if these pens still, while doing the method that we suggest, how you should color, like, you know, going the same direction, that can benefit your hair. That can give you the illusion of hair strands. So if you paint, or if you use the markers in the direction the hair is flowing, all those overlaps, like down here, if you do those straight lines in a curve, it can give the feeling of those hair strands. So it's not only going in one direction to color it in, but choosing the direction to your advantage. So with hair, you can choose that to help the hair strands. And some other areas, maybe since you've been going this way, you know, to get the hair strands, you could do something opposite for the jacket to make that feel a little separated from it. Stuff like that to think about when how to color things in, especially when you're layering everything.
Also, don't be worried if it doesn't come out right the first time. It takes a long time to build up the muscle memory and control to get to the point of this stroke is perfect, this stroke is perfect, you know, as far as trying to ink in that method.
Also, just learning the medium, like how it reacts. How do your markers react to different paper? How does it react to the paper you're using? Like, there's so much to learn.
So much left to know. I do like the paper you're using.
Yeah.
This looks like 40 or 60 weight paper. Good paper.
Yeah, it's good paper. I just did a little bit of a draw on top of this. With the eyes, this far one will kind of just be a fair bit shorter. So I've kind of, especially like with the way that they've turned, so I've just sort of made that eye a little bit shorter horizontally, and brought that muzzle up a bit. And when I draw muzzles, I tend to like them a little bit
Yes, me
more
too.
substantial.
I like them sort of poking up and boopable.
Change up the eye shapes a bit. That just comes from practice because I've drawn a whole bunch of eyes, a lot of different eyes, and then moved the horn to sort of the center position of the face, roughly. And I also made the ear a bit bigger, just because it's a little bit small on the one, I think. And other than that, I think most of it is sort of just refinement and learning things as you draw. So like as you draw, you'll sort of slowly pick up the sense of like 3D scenes in your head, and you know that'll just come over time. So don't stress too much.
All right. Anyone else got anything?
I'm just gonna very quickly.
I got nothing.
Keep drawing and keep drawing
Keep
Rarity, because Rarity's great.
Not biased at
Rarity's
all.
good.
Not biased.
To be fair, that is the truth.
You could also draw Sunset Shimmer. That's also great pony.
I always forget you're just as obsessed with Sunset as Rarity.
She's
Sunset
great.
is the best.
Thank you. See, a true believer in our midst.
All right. Let's go to our next one. Do-do-do-do-do.
Doobly-doo.
Hey, baby. Wait, we can make this lower. One sec. This is by Kat Dorker, and my most recent OC so far. Her name's Lady. Hey, baby. That's how she sounds. Just like this grumbly, whiskey-filled voice.
At first, I thought that was it took me just like a few seconds to realize that was speech, because it's like very heavily calligraphy and it doesn't have like the typical like speech thing. It's got that like fancy bracket, so it almost looks more like a title. At first, I thought it said like "Fay Baby" or something. I'm not very good at swirly writings. And she looks all magical. Yeah.
I fixed her
Wait.
face to match.
There's something else that needs to be fixed about this speech. It's incomplete is the problem.
Now her face matches the text that I just heard.
We might have ruined this picture.
Now it is complete.
Hey, maybe we want to collab? Bloody great. This is good. A lot of really cool shapes here, and good proportions and stuff.
Yeah, I
I
super love the expression and the face like structure in general. Very soft.
You could probably shrink the head a tiny bit, or make the body a little bit bigger. I always have dramas with that. I always get like halfway through finish the picture, and I'm just like, okay, let's grab the head and shrink it by 20%.
Would you say does that make it cooler?
No, stop, please.
You can't stop me.
I think you could probably, with the thigh, just sort of get rid of this connection here. Just have it a bit more implied.
Tangent. Sorry.
Yeah. No, that
Wait,
that
multiple
tangent.
tangents.
This.
Okay. So to
Right
explain
here.
this briefly, a tangent is a thing where two completely separate lines make an unnatural connection and they're not supposed to. So you can see here the thigh blends completely into this line here, like where the hoof is separated. Same thing happens to where these hooves are both separated. Our brains can easily connect these two lines and it becomes a single shape, but that's not what it's supposed to be. It's obvious that this is supposed to be my pen has stopped responding. So it's a case of just like making sure you break. Oh no, I've gone to like my canvas is going all over the place. Help! What is that? It's like zooming out and rotating at the same time, even though I've got the pen selected. I can't draw. I'm incapacitated. Pixie showed him.
Yeah. Basically, this line, it just made like a interesting shape here, which kind of made all this area appear as part of the belly, which it wasn't intended. So pulling that up, getting the end of that line away from the start of this line, just makes the
There we
shape
go.
pop a little bit more.
Yeah.
And yeah,
Just anything you can do that like separates how these lines work. So maybe you want to bring this up a little bit and this one down. There's all sorts of ways you can play with this, but yeah, you just want to separate where they're connecting. So if I figure out how to draw like this. Yeah, just because now like the brain can obviously determine like what we're actually looking at there. And I agree with what Pixie drew as well.
something like that.
What I had drawn before, I got completely incapacitated by my program going all over the place. I did just like push the bridge of the nose in. I got some weird color still. I pushed the bridge of the nose in a little bit, just subtly. I mean, if you want to keep it the way you've been doing it, that's fine. It sort of reminds me of like the way a lot of the stallions look in the show, with the muzzles look like a thick thing sort of sloping downwards, which is obviously what the horses look like IRL. So your style sort of struck me more like a sort of IRL horse style, which is absolutely fine if you want to do that. Otherwise, like just a personal preference, I think just sloping the sort of okay. And the other thing, I just very, very subtly moved the sort of center point of the eye where it meets the bridge of the nose here, just forward slightly, and also the horn should be placed around here, more in the center of the forehead, at a general 45-degree-ish angle from like the skull. So I just moved the horn sort of down a little bit.
I think that this thigh line I removed might have been like sort of a connecting strap for this piece back here. I'm not sure. It didn't
Maybe.
really super come across that way. It might be good to just like do a bit of exploring and see what other sorts of shapes you can make around that area. Or if you could change up
I
the
think
color of the line work to be a little more.
What we sort of talked about with that and with the tangents and stuff, I think a lot of that points towards like readability.
Yeah.
And it's super lovely having like this very sketchy lining style where like you're not getting like bogged down in making the lines like super duper neat and refined. You're just like being loose and creative, and that's wonderful. But sometimes you've got to be careful as to like just a little bit careful as to where you place those lines, because sometimes it can end up being confusing when they're not like very mechanical.
This is a good horse.
Yes.
Good job.
Want to pet and brush the mane and stroke.
Ali is concerned.
Why is Ali concerned?
I think
Because
Ali is
of my
scared of what
doodle.
she's created.
Yes.
All right, shall we move on?
Yes.
But good job. Keep drawing.
Yeah.
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 I like the colors used. I know I wasn't contributing a lot that round. Everyone else said all the good things, but I really like the colors. Just wanted to say that.
So this last picture submitted is by Spymaster356, and it's Draw Every Day, Day 5, Ensign Sparkle.
Yeah. Humans are cool.
Hell yeah.
Apparently the suit design is from Star Trek Lower Decks, which is that new
I
series.
heard about that.
My older brother, who is a major Trekkie, says it is hot garbage and it's not worth watching. But that might be bias via Trekkie. I'm not sure.
I wouldn't know anything about the series myself.
That's good.
Definitely gonna watch it anyway. Not like I've ever
Sometimes-
listened to his advice.
Sometimes you just need a little trash TV in your life. It's just necessary.
I mean, if I listened to people's advice, I wouldn't be drawing ponies.
I don't want to live in that world.
I don't want to live in that world without ponies. No?
I like it.
I
So
was
what
busy drawing. I didn't listen.
So what I quick drew over to the side here, this little purple blob, these types of shapes you often see in tutorials or breakdowns of drawing the human body.
I like that
Basically,
too.
what this top shape is, it's a very weird. It almost looks like a tooth if you take like a second to look at the outline.
It does, yeah.
I kind of see that, but that's a basic simplification of a human rib cage. We're not talking about any meat on it whatsoever, just the rib cage. You know, these little dashes I drew are.
I kind of like this better than what I do when I'm doing humans, and what I do is probably not the best because I struggle so much with human anatomy. But I just do like, oh, you can't see this at all.
Oh no.
I do like this, and I do like a weird like cross section like this, and then I just have like a circle like this for the hips, and there's the hips, and there's the shoulders, and then the arms come on. But like I always struggle so much, so this already looks like like you'd have a much better time going off of this.
I mean, there's many ways to view and break down like any kind of anatomy, especially when you're going for stylized anatomy. Like what I drew here could not hold like a flame to an actual human. I'm not using a reference right now. I'm just like looking at your image as my reference for the general shape. But also PSA, use references if you're not. Always highly recommend them. Either
It's difficult
real
to do that when we're
cartoon
in the middle of
or-
doing a live stream, but like
yeah.
that isn't to say that we're going do as we say, not as we do, and then like not using references ever. Like we absolutely do all the time.
Oh god, hordes of references on my end.
Yeah, Ali is like we have an in joke amongst MLPDS that Ali somehow just has like a nether space in her main of just like tutorials and resources that if anyone needs anything, she just has these like obscure like, oh, here you go. And it's like, what? That was like 5 seconds. Where did you get that?
I want to learn. I just
Yes.
want to learn. Now
Ali's
I
got
forget
more.
what we were talking about.
The
But,
web page breakdown.
Right, sorry. Resource is good. Anyway,
Mhm.
rib cage breakdown, simple shapes. So the thing about the MLP Equestria Girl style, very stick-like, very stiff. Obviously the animation's not, but it's very line. Like there's no, not as many curves as the MLP ponies do. Like the faces and the eyes, very soft curves there, but most of the body. Again, I didn't pull up any images, but from what I remember, and I do like Equestria Girl, so I've seen it multiple times. It's very just stick and straight.
Yeah.
Now, sometimes we lose that when trying to draw Equestria Girl's fan art, especially when we're trying to not just draw Equestria Girl's style. So, basic things to keep in mind are just how curvy human figures actually are. And the thing about drawing the ribcage like this and putting down these basic shapes, I saw someone was drawing in white earlier.
That was me, yeah. I
Oh,
could probably
do it.
redo that. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah. So using these basic shapes help guide this white line. This is like with flesh on the bone. So we have a little cushioning around the bone, but it helps guide that line to get the curves of the body and to show, and it gives a little more life to the stance, right? They're just standing still, but I feel like with those two curved lines, I feel a little bit more life to the figure, a little more softness. So
There
stuff
are a
like
lot of
that to keep
people
in
who
mind.
love to do like they obviously don't draw like an entire like fully shaded skeleton and then like draw like muscle, but like you would at the very least get like a much more like detailed breakdown and guide of like the structure, and then we'll actually draw like the sort of a vague representation of like the muscle shape and everything, and then like draw everything they need like clothes and stuff on top of that. Some people would prefer to do it like this, where you've got like a vague like Ali said, it's like a simplification of those bones, so you understand like where the shape of everything is, and then do what I did and just you build the sort of skin and everything on top of that, like Ali just said. And some people prefer to do it how I just sort of scribbled on screen earlier, where it's already just like circles connected. So there are
Hmm.
also different ways that, like you said,
Mm.
it depends on how like complex you want your like guides and building to be. We do definitely recommend uh doing at least some form of under sketching and construction, because that construction is very, very important for building up drawings, and just sort of winging it is very, very difficult to really get what you're imagining in your head onto paper a lot of the time.
Mm.
And anything that makes that easier is a plus.
All right. So, humans are cool, but shoulders basically jut out a little bit. So this whole shoulder assembly thing here will kind of have its own weight, and especially when it comes to like this connection point here, that will sort of override the sticks as sort of the forearms. Um, you've got sort of the middle of the top of the rib cagey thing around about here, and so that's kind of why I pulled this shoulder in a little bit more, just so that the rib cage was like definitely around about this area, so the neck made sense and all that sort of thing. With the whole curve of the body and all that sort of stuff, let me just switch to white and steel sides color for a sec. It's good to be decisive because it makes your figure feel a bit more dynamic and a bit more interesting. So, for example, over here we've got comes in and then it goes like out, and that little bit of a shape is just interesting and cool. And usually, what happens when you're drawing figures is one side is going to have this kind of like a squish in shape, and the other side is going to have a stretched shape. And that's usually going to be true for like a lot of the body. So, for example, over here, this side is like squished in, this side is a bit more stretched, and down here is a little bit squished in, and down here, over here is kind of not. It's kind of pulled out and stretched. And you can use that for a lot of the body. And probably just like look at real people and try to draw real people. Like take your sketchbook out and draw family and do that sort of stuff. And there's places online where you can look at reference pictures of people and just draw people, and you'll definitely get it. This is good start.
People are very hard. But please do not lose hope. People can be fun to draw. I know they're scary and there's a lot of parts about them that are really hard, like hands and the face and the toes and the feet. All like the end bits. The torso I feel is a bit more approachable,
True.
but like
Yeah.
all the end bits are a little
I
bit more
my
difficult.
arms always look really weird, and I always struggle with faces, with humans anyway. With ponies, I'm fine. It
The
is worth persevering. Yesterday I was making a joke about how like I was talking with my friend about our D&D characters, and I was like, oh, I totally want to draw the scene we're sort of joking about. And I like when I got like my got Clip Studio Paint open. I got my tablet on my lap, and I described it to my friend. It's like one of those scenes in anime. Like if you imagine this like animated super dramatically with me like grabbing my pen and then like seeing the pen like soar through the air, but then like stopping like millimeters from the tablet, and then like my hand shaking, and then I'm just like, oh no, I have to draw humans. That's basically what happened. I literally touched my like tip-to tablet and was like, oh god, I've immediately lost motivation as soon as I realized how hard it is to draw humans. But you know, I persevered anyway, and I drew something that is definitely okay. So it's always worth persevering and trying to learn more. If there's stuff that you struggle with them, then like think about what it is you're struggling, and like there's always tutorials and resources and references and lessons and stuff that you can find to help guide you into how to make things easier. And that's definitely what I need to focus on at the moment as well.
Another thing that I tend to do is with the head, you can usually approximate it by having like one circle for kind of the back of the head, and then one circle for kind of the front of the head. If you want to, it's just kind of how I tend to structure it. But for this whole head shape, I sort of drew a circle and then cut it off at the sides.
Oh. Clever Rooney.
Yeah, because the whole thing is sort of like this weird little, like, if you look at it from
It's
front
not
on,
a sphere, yeah. And that's why I think
Kind
you
of
see a lot of like how to draw human, whether it's like anime or cartoon or realistic or whatever, have like a circle, and then where like a lot of the things I saw when I first started drawing was like to do a circle and then you like do the chin shape and whatever inside the circle, and construct the circle like Pixie's doing. Whereas a lot of the stuff I see online is like they have the sphere and then they have like the chin and everything and draw and everything under the circle, because the head is not a sphere. Part of it can be a sphere, but it's not like ponies where it's literally a circle.
Mm.
Even in the movie, they drop that.
and then on this like flat cutout part, that's somewhere where the ear will probably be. Yeah, the glasses are difficult because if they're not like perfectly like in line, they're gonna look a little bit stranger if they're not like. You sort of need this kind of thing, and then you know if they're going to be like curved in like that or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
then you need to like push that on top of it or something like that. So don't stress if the glasses look a little bit like wonky and skewed and all that sort of stuff, because that's how they're going to look for a while anyway. But just keep trying and keep pushing along with it, and then it'll be good.
Yeah.
Ooh.
All right. Any other questions? Any other art people like to submit? Any other? I don't know today. Spiders.
Space vessels. Like
Space vessels. Yes.
Space festivals.
Yep.
Festivals. Yes.
Space vegetables?
All of the above.
Space cabbage.
Space cabbage.
My space cabbages. All right. Well, seeing as that's a no, because we have no one else in the chat.
Oh.
We're gonna call it a day. Thank you all for joining us, and we'll see you again next week. Goodbye.
Bye.